Hey everyone, happy Vlogmas, day 21. It is day 21, right? Yeah. Alright, well, it's been a couple of days since you guys have seen me. For this being my first one, missing maybe less than a handful of days throughout the entire process. I think that's pretty good. Not perfect, but it's not a perfect challenge, it's an imperfect challenge. We just do what we can and learn through the rest and get a little better next time. Now, why did I decide to come out here live? Well, because I got a lot of shit to do, mainly. But I've also been wanting to update you guys on what's going on since I've been so busy. Let's see, been doing a lot of education on editing and going to be pumping out some videos here pretty soon. Um, it's now Friday. Have not worked out at all. I'll be the first one to admit it. Was supposed to work out like 5 days ago. Didn't do it. Wait, shit, it's Monday. I was supposed to work out a week ago and today. Didn't do it. Been really busy, but productive. Working with a couple people about getting a global initiative started with this online business development center. Um, going to be looking into providing housing, uh, office resources, internet. Let's see what else. Plumbing, electricity. I'm going to partner up with a bunch of people about that. It's actually pretty cool using. Going to be building houses and offices using 3D printers. Um, Working on my first affiliate marketing project that involves my own product. So I guess should say I'm building my first marketing product. Well, no, I can't say that. My first affiliate marketing product or groove seller marketing product. I don't know, but no, that doesn't make sense because sales page and all that stuff. You guys, I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. If not, you'll figure it out as soon as you click on the link down and get your own Groove Pages account. My first product through Groove Pages. There you go. Tell you what, it's actually really funny because the vast majority of programs and shiny objects that are out there in the affiliate marketing marketplace is actually tutorials on how to use other people's products, like how to use YouTube, how to use this platform and that platform and that platform and that platform, and this platform compared to this platform, yada 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 yada. Well, you or Groove actually decided to be a little smart about it and got rid of that whole concept. They want people actually developing technology to better marketing, better the experience, better the industry and the people that support it. Not just produce a bunch of tutorials. and sell them off for thousands of dollars as a membership site, which I've spent over $100,000 last year on investments and stuff like that. But we live and we learn. Now that groove's out, nobody really needs to spend money anymore. And you get your free account, you go through the training, you basically pick the business model that best suits you through one of their challenges, whether it's building a page challenge or ad or Facebook ad or doing the imperfect action challenge, whatever, membership site challenge. They got like 5 different challenges running constantly. And an actual community that's there pretty much 24/7 to make sure you're doing it right. That's the important part. Because it really doesn't matter what kind of program you have, it doesn't matter what kind of people you have working for you if there's no communication to the customer. And they excel in that. They are the number one platform with communication to the customer. It's there's really no comparison, at least in the marketing industry. Now, you guys might be wondering what else I've been working on. Been building out Amazon affiliate sites. Been doing a lot of that. Working on a TV network. That's been my biggest project so far, is getting the TV network up and running and building out memberships for that, because the savings and infrastructure on it is pretty intense. But when it's all said and done, you'll be able to go to one of my sites and see exactly what the best product is that you're looking for, how it compares to everything else, not just with little clicker reviews, but with actual videos and testimonials. And eventually we're going to have the manufacturers of these products on live, doing live stream with them to actually get the best information on how to use the product and how to become part of the community with that product. Because that's number one I like to promote, is the enthusiasm of a product. If you're going to take the time to actually invest in building a product and marketing it and all of that stuff, you grow a kinship to it, and you want to see it succeed. You want to see it progress and everything and evolve. Now you also want to make sales, so best way to do it is to get the person that actually made the product, that got inspired to do it, in front of a camera and have them talk about it. Find out why we should be buying from them rather than somebody else that makes a very similar one. I mean, who knows why people decide to buy one boat engine over another. I mean, I'm sure there's some people that understand that stuff, but there's a lot of others that simply don't, and they'll go to a boat shop or whatever, and they'll just buy something, buy whatever the sales guy gives them, thinking, yeah, this is a great deal. In reality, they just got scammed. But this way, you'll be an educated consumer, and that's half the battle right there, is actually understanding what you're looking at and the true value of something. It's not just a brand. It's not just the marketing of a product. It's not just the people that stand behind it. It's understanding what it's made to do and what its potential is. I mean, look at baking soda, for God's sakes. If I got the manufacturer of baking soda in an interview, they'd start talking about cooking or cleaning. Well, anybody that's ever gone to elementary science understands there's about 10,000 different things for baking soda. Anybody that's ever made moonshine understands there's other things for baking soda. Like glue. But that's just one thing. That's my biggest project right now is getting that up and running and getting this coalition together so I can get my initiative going. It's all tied in together though, but let's see what else to talk about. Had another 100% day in Forex. Actually, let's see where we're at right now. Still nobody's talking. That's okay. I still love you guys. Even though you don't show up or comment or haven't found me yet, you will eventually, and I love you then too. Yep. See? See those greens? That's positives. The other red, that'll switch probably by morning. It's already trending in that direction. Yeah. So far I've made almost 3% today. Not bad. Even if I decide to take that loss, like close out right now, I'm still at 2%. So having a gain is a gain. I don't care what people tell you. Doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning is winning. Now, when it comes to Forex, the biggest thing that I could tell you is understanding the strength indicators. If you don't understand your strength indicators, then you're done. That is the biggest fallback for any Forex trader, or the biggest fallback for any Forex trader is just not understanding their strength indicators or even having good strength indicators in their algorithm. But let me explain the importance of a strength indicator. A strength indicator is something that's going to tell you how long a thing is going to stay in one direction. Like those two greens and one red. The reason why I'm not worried about that one red is because the strength indicator was showing that it was getting ready to turn back, but it just wasn't there yet, and I caught it a little early, which made it still go back in a negative, which is fine. Everything is already saying that it's keeping the actual trend, which that I am a trend trader. That's the only way to make money. Do not buy or do not go to anybody that says to trade just bull markets or trade in bear markets or trade on the pullbacks. Trading on a pullback is trading against the actual strength. The actual strength of a trade is based off of that nation's economy. The pullback is based off of the big banks and when they decide to change their direction. Unless you are one of those people that make that decision for the big banks, you have absolutely no idea when the pullback is going to be or if there even will be one. I mean, look at the euro recently. Every indicator was saying that the euro was going to keep going. But a lot of people were betting that there wasn't going to be a pullback because of the stimulus package. Well, the stimulus package worked for a little while, but things go back to normal after a time. After a certain period of time, just they go back to equilibrium. And that's pretty much what happened. I mean, me personally, I lost almost $400 because I decided to go against my system and said, "Hey, you know what? I don't believe that the European Union is going to have that good of a stimulus, and as soon as everything shuts down again, because of how vigilant the European Union and the UK were, I was thinking GBP and the Canadian dollar and Australian dollar would be affected, and more importantly, the euro would be affected. And that just simply didn't happen. It actually kept going, especially the euro. And that happened. That went on for what, almost 2 weeks. Just kept going up and up and up and up and up, and then finally, eventually, it decided to go ahead and change and go back to equilibrium. But unless you're willing to stick it out and lose who knows how much, I wasn't. I actually got out and waited for it to come back and said, you know what, screw it. I'll just keep going with my system and I'll make the money back. I'm not worried about it. It wasn't a part of my actual algorithm, so I don't really need to change anything. It was just I was trying to capitalize something, and that's my own fault when I know better. I've been doing this for a couple of years now, and I've made that mistake enough times to where I shouldn't be trading the news. Now, I named this motivation because it's getting that time of year where everything is pretty much at the end. So you're ready for your parties, you're ready for the holidays and relaxing and goodwill towards men and all that happy stuff. But don't lose sight of what you've been working on throughout the year. You don't want to take a few days off to enjoy time with your family, which believe me, I understand that's important. But you need to make sure to manage your responsibilities like one of my last videos was talking about. Enjoy yourself absolutely, but still manage your responsibilities. And you guys saw the Opal Sands video? That was a Vlogmas video. It was me doing some work, but you guys didn't see that after everything closed down, I was actually on my computer sitting on the patio till about 2:30 in the morning. Oh, crack. Yeah, if you guys if I had a better mic, you would have heard it. I got a bunch of broken bones or broken back, like nine places. That's why I smoke so much. One of the reasons. How's she doing? She's sleeping. In the Opal Sands video, you'll hear me talk to my grandma, and she responds. That's because she is very, very good with speaking. But she did lose her hearing when she was about 5 years old to double pneumonia, actually. But she's still the cutest little grandma in the whole world. I challenge anybody. I got the picture to prove it. She really is a real life Pixar character. What else? I'm not too sure about what to talk about. Let's see. The first two networks, or the first two channels that are coming on the network that I'm working on, is Paul Marts, the original Paul Marts. I started Paul Marts back in 2013, 2014 as a domestic pet supply and animal enthusiasm center, because there just simply isn't enough people to give information on what it is to be a responsible pet owner. And there's certainly not enough knowledgeable people promoting the right kind of information. Just decided to go out, I guess. Whatever. Anyway. Let's see. Yeah. I mean, who actually wants to get an animal from a shelter that is run by volunteers, most likely very poorly because they simply don't have the expenses. Or sorry, they have the expense. Yeah, the expenses. They don't have the budget. Little spit went down the wrong tube. But a friend of mine asked me, what was up with the video from Opal Sands, and why did I go there? Because it's like 45-minute drive. And I told her we wanted the experience. Clearwater, Florida is known for having one of the best beaches in the world. Also has one of the best sunsets in the world. Now, pretty much anybody can view it pretty respectably from anywhere on the beach, on the pier, any of that stuff. But if you want to actually experience the sunset and only the sunset, yep, see, I got other stuff to do too. Always got those reminders going. Then you don't want to do it at water level. You don't want to experience the sunset at water level. That way, you want to be looking down onto the water and out to the clouds. And that's what we did. We went to the best beach, found the best hotel or resort, had amazing food, had a grouper sandwich. Um, Granny actually had a vodka and Coke. It was pretty cool. Um, yes, my 8-year-old grandma still drinks every once in a while, but we gotta monitor that stuff. Make sure she's good. But she still does. She still enjoys life. That's and enjoying life like everybody else at 88 years old. That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's what I'll do while I'm smoking this. Give you a little rundown on my family. Um, my mom, she her name is Debbie. She passed away back in 2006. If I'm sure you never heard of her, but her name was Debbie Madsen, or that was her maiden name. Her claim to fame is back in 1988, working for the Maryland Port Authority. She was involved in a 2 or 3 year project that allowed shipping programs to speak to one another. It's no before that computer program simply didn't connect to another one. They just didn't work together. The databases there was no interface for two databases to come together. So her, or my mom Debbie, and her boss Jeff decided they were going to take on that task, not understanding how much of a mammoth task that would be. So they told their superiors that a couple hours a day they'll be working on that, and in a few months they'll be able to have everything up and running. 2 or 3 years later, they had everything up and running. But anybody that's dealt with tech companies or anything like that, you understand things happen. You just don't expect scale and other things. Um, my grandfather, my mom's dad, you probably did hear about, or at least you should Google. His name's Willard Madsen, Willard J. Madsen, actually. He was an author, a teacher, an activist, um, so many things. He actually helped create the only American language, which is American Sign Language. Um, when he became deaf himself. He wasn't born that way. He became deaf from scarlet fever at age 3. Now, luckily, the he caught it at age 3, and people were able to see that he wasn't mentally ill. That's why he couldn't hear, because some kind of mental illness that they weren't aware of. Because at that time, in that location, it actually wouldn't be far fetched to have him um, sent through a eugenics program and actually castrated or put to sleep. um, his father was a sharecropper and pretty much an immigrant slave from Denmark named Niels Mads. My grandma is her name's Dorothea, Dorothea, Dorothea. She is about 5 foot nothing, 240 pounds of giggly love and attitude, but also happens to be the most awarded person in the history of NASA. It's actually really cool that we have more badges that have been in space than, um, yeah, there's more badges that have been in space on my wall in there than are sitting in the Smithsonian. That's pretty cool. Let me explain why that is, though. Was she an astronaut? No. Did she deal with aeronautics? No. She wasn't part of any of that. She actually was in the small purchases department, which is basically how everybody got their supplies to do the engineering and the aeronautics and all the rocket science stuff. If those things didn't get processed, then people didn't have the materials to create the formulas or the designs to be able to do those things. Because back then, we're talking about in the 60s and the 70s, and that simply just the computers didn't have the proper programming. So they used paper and pencil and worked with that. There was her interpreter who did actually work at NASA. She was just an interpreter. And there was these two other ladies that worked there as temps. Um, During my grandfather's years as a college professor, remember I said he was a teacher, he was actually a college professor. He created the English department at Gallaudet University, and the transition of teaching deaf people English actually created that. And that's, which is, I mean, think about it. He created how people understand a language. Also was a deaf man, sorry, also was a deaf man that could speak in different um, accents. I remember sitting in Maryland with him and my brother, and Brian would ask my grandfather to pronounce a person's name, and he'd do it perfectly. Never tried Portuguese. Never did that. It was always Italian or some kind of European soccer. That's what they watched most together. That and basketball or football. Lots of football. They were both big Red Sox fans, or not Red Sox, Redskins fans. Um, let's see what else. I have other family members, but they don't need to be mentioned. Um, oh, back to my grandma. My grandma, the reason why she got the shuttle badges in the first place, she was, we're talking Discovery, Challenger, Apollo missions. I mean, big, big names. And those badges are sitting on my wall right now. And they will never leave as long as I'm alive. And then they'll go to another family member. But the reason why she got those badges in the first place is because when she first started out, she she met my grandfather in college, but actually stopped going. Back at that time, talking about the early 50s, if a woman gets married, there it goes. Basically, a woman would go to college not to really pursue a career, but have a fallback if she didn't get a husband. At least that's the way my grandmother explained it to me. So, um, but she met my grandfather, and eventually they got married. And he continued to pursue his career as an educator, and got his master's degree in education. And after that, went over to Gallaudet University. Or no, I'm sorry, he got his bachelor's at LSU, and then went over to Gallaudet to get his master's. Um, for they actually, while he was at Gallaudet, he was there for 40 years. While he was there, they asked him to be the president of the university almost every year. He was actually a part of a big civil rights act thing that happened at that university when he went there as a student, that he was part of starting. And that was because there was a president of the university that was hearing. Well, Gallaudet's not a hearing university. It's for deaf people. And a hearing person simply can't understand why, or understand the culture of a deaf person. Um, my grandfather actually wrote a poem called "You Have to Be Deaf to Understand," and that's actually one of the most translated and influential, just just complete omnidirectional poems you could ever read. about a disenfranchised group. He was giving the perspective of what he was going through as a deaf person, but it could very easily be translated into any disenfranchised group and what they go through on a daily basis, what their life is like. And it gives you a really good understanding of equality. Not that, and basically we're all in this shit together kind of thing. Was talking to a friend of mine that is very, very supportive of the current president, and thought it was kind of interesting how this whole episodes, this whole saga, I guess, call it the saga, has played out. I mean, some people just don't have any tact. I mean, they just blurt stuff out rather than giving the right approach for the right outcome. And I have my own personal suspicions. Like my suspicion is that this is all being done because a lot of the people that are involved are going to be highly invested in the Trump network that will soon be coming. There's plenty of places for him to produce that. I mean, look at Spotify. I mean, how hard would it be to give all those people a voice and the millions of followers that they have? Trump Tube 2021. People think it's the OAN network or America's First Network. Nah. Even the real networks like NBC and Disney, and they've realized the power of YouTube. So has Trump. I mean, hell, over half of the techniques, the marketing techniques that are out right now for self help are coming straight out of his promotions of the rallies. I mean, it really is. Um, who would like an Easter egg? Well, there's nobody here, so I guess there's not going to be one. when somebody shows up on my Rob at any time, Trader Rob at any time, live Q&A deals, and actually says hello, I'll drop one part of my 10-part algorithm for Forex. Four parts of my 10-part algorithm. Actually, 7 of them. No, 6. 6 parts of my 10-part algorithm are actually at nononsenseforex.com and in the podcast and on his YouTube channel. Do the work, and it's pretty obvious which ones they are. But if you want something that shows exactly when the trend is strong enough and when to get out, when it's losing traction, all you gotta do is show up and say, hey, what's that Easter egg? Yay, yay. Let's see. Um, oh, one of the things that I've noticed since I've since the pandemic and things opening up again is Bush Gardens. I have when they first opened, I was so happy. It actually felt safe, and I said that to a lot of people that Bush Gardens is probably the safest place you can go. And over the course of the past month and a half, it's become so toxic. Not just people not wearing masks, because they don't, and not just the overcrowding and nobody keeping social distance, because they don't, but because of how divided this country is and how one group feels they need to constantly display their allegiance to that group, makes the people that feel just as strongly in the opposing group want to confront them. And a lot of times it does happen, and it happens in the park, and you're trying to just enjoy yourself with a beer and the sunset and watch some zebras and giraffes and rhinos and have a pretty amazing Thursday. And because you can, I mean, I can, within 2 days, I can go from the 13th floor or the 14th floor in Opal Sands Resort to Busch Gardens and watch giraffes and all these savanna animals just roaming along, and the alligators and penguins. Get medicated, just walk around and just wobble at the penguin. But anyway, the Busch Gardens, it's become such a disappointment because they're at this point now. It's blatantly obvious that they don't care anymore, and I I'm a caregiver to an 88-year-old woman with heart problems. I mean, I can't afford to get sick, and I can't afford to give it to her, and she can't afford to get it. And because of how lax they have become and more worried about the bottom dollar and getting people in there, allowing less enforcement to no enforcement whatsoever of these things being violated. I mean, CDC protocols for a reason. This is a deadly pandemic. Be happy the state allows you to be open in the first place. You have a responsibility to the public to not be a daily super whatever, super spreader every single day. 3,400 people a day. Come on. It's it's ridiculous. I mean, just nobody wants to take responsibility, and nobody wants to actually step up and legitimately hold people accountable. They want to go after, they want to just keep upping things to these preposterous levels. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. Why not just stick to the facts? We trust math, right? And we know the periodic table is correct, right? I mean, can't really change that information. It's not really possible to come up with alternative facts to that information. And that is science. And the whole process of determining a fact is called science. Ology. Ology. Science of. Hello. Science doesn't even know meteorology. I wish Busch Gardens would step up and take better responsibility or take better stewardship of their responsibilities. It really needs to happen because people are dying, and because they don't want to upset somebody that killed somebody. I mean, that's what happened. You can't you can't say that people aren't dying because your people are refusing to enforce a global law, a global understanding. I mean, how does that make sense? You have all the resources, you have the ability. You just got to get them to do it. They won't do their job. Um, uh, we'll see what happens. I'm gonna actually take Granny down to Busch Gardens for Christmas time because I've been wanting to do that since I bought the tickets back in like January, maybe no February, early February. And oh, here's one thing about the whole virus deal and people not knowing about it and it not becoming public and that stuff. If you want to just make it completely and yeah, you go ahead and finish that. All right. If you want to just see the reality of the situation, go to November of last year. Go to a YouTube channel called TubeBuddy. TubeBuddy. In there, a and this is not a reporter's place or anything like that. These guys actually just help people better their YouTube channels. They give reviews um, on how to market themselves better or create a better brand or a better better quality video. How to get the creator's message across better. And they're pretty good. They're pretty good at their job. We'll just leave it at that. I use them for a lot of things. But um, anyway, the going off on a tangent. The what was I talking? I'm high. Heat. Um, TubeBuddy. You go to TubeBuddy and you go back to November of 2019. Now, in there, these guys that just talk about how to better your YouTube channel also mention the coronavirus and its impact in China in November of 2019. What else happened in November of 2019? Well, there was a 17-year-old that was also monitoring it and decided to create an app that actually monitored or tracked the spread of the virus throughout the countries that many, many, many millions of people used, and maybe even still use. I haven't looked into it recently, but yeah, 17-year-old back in November of 2019. He saw that the something bad's about to happen. It was also in newspapers in China. That's actually how the guys from TubeBuddy found out about it, because a friend of theirs was transcribing or translating newspapers from China, and they were talking about it in there. Um, so saying people didn't know about it, how bad it was in March and April and May and June, July, August, whatever. It's all bullshit. If guys from a channel on YouTube can get that kind of information, I mean, do we really think that senators got it in February? Come on. But that's what happened. And you can't, the videos are right there. I mean, you see the timestamp, 11 something, I can't remember the actual date. But yeah, the kid that made the app, he did a bunch of interviews, and he said each and every time that he was monitoring the stuff in October and November, he decided he was going to make it. He was going to design everything, and it wasn't even that hard. And then we're bickering and moaning about people not saying how bad it is, or saying that it's a hoax. I mean, or saying that they downplayed it, they like to downplay it, and they're continue to downplay it, and have continued to downplay it. But that's all to get Roger Ailes ratings, which I think is actually pretty funny, because I was actually thinking about this earlier today when I was driving around, that Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, they all might actually like crash the day after Inauguration Day because of so many people unfollowing Trump because he's no longer a president, so he's no longer actually going to be relevant. People don't want to follow Donald Trump. They want to follow the president of the United States. And that's going to be interesting. To have within just a very short period of time that many people unfollow one profile. Should be interesting. I wonder if the news will continue to follow him. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, here's a little Easter egg, and I have no affiliation with it, but I originally got introduced to omni-channel marketing back in 2013, 2014 when I was watching just kind of like a sit down between the CEOs of J.C. Penney's and Toys R Us. And they were talking about, the whole thing was about omni-channel and how that is coming out, and which was how I actually always understood marketing should be. You go to as many possible branches you can, just like a circulatory system. Now, or a nervous system, however you want to put it, pulmonary system. Oh, crack. Oh, Granny's awake. Time to go back inside. Let's see. Well, I guess I'm gonna just let you guys go. Part of the Easter egg is the Granny doesn't like the porch light on when people aren't out there. Oh, I forgot my phone. But one of the parts of the little Easter egg that I was going to give tonight is I was going to tell you how to set up one of the indicators that I use, and I'll tell you the name of it. It's MACD. I know that it's part of the Dirty Dozen, but I use it, and you guys see my results. So everybody understands things a little differently, but the way I have mine set up, I have 100% days. But that's all for now. Happy Vlogmas. Happy Hanukkah. Have a great night, great morning, great afternoon. Love you guys.